back to the 2023 Big 12 Football Media Days presented by Old Trapper. We now have on the stage Oklahoma coach Brent Venables. Again, if you have a question, please be sure to raise your hand, and then we'll get a mic holder to you. Coach, we'll start with an opening statement.
All right. Good to see everybody. I appreciate everybody being here today. And just 2023, incredibly excited about this season, about our team. I'd like to recognize our players that are here. Dylan Gabriel, Drake Stoops, Jonah Malulu, and Danny Stutzman. Three incredible young men that are all about all the right stuff. And so thankful to be here with them here today and to be in front of y'all. The last year in the Big 12 Conference, and having, most of you know my background. I played at Kansas State as the former Big 8 and had the good fortune to coach in the very first Big 12 game in the conference history, Kansas State versus Texas Tech. Zebby Lethridge and Byron Hanspard and the great Spike Dykes. And what an amazing time it's been, in this conference. And all of my opportunities in my life that I have here as a coach, have all come from this conference, the Big 8, the Big 12, the coaches, the great mentors that I've had, and all the amazing players that have helped me had a career of success. So incredibly thankful, for, this conference and what it's meant. And as we all know, this is a conference that takes a backseat to nobody. Incredibly exciting, having the new 4 teams, Central Florida, Cincinnati, BYU, and Houston. Great coaches, great teams, great history and tradition that these teams will bring into this program. And I just want to say I appreciate our commissioner for his leadership. The Big 12 is in great hands under his directorship, and what he's doing for this conference. There's no doubt that the best is still yet to come for this conference. We've had tremendous turnover, like a lot of people in this day and age of college football. Like many people, there's been tremendous roster turnover. We desire a roster of stability and consistency. I think that's what lends to success and sustainability. But it's also, losing players is to me, I look at it as a great opportunity, for the new guys. And so we've got 123 players on the team 129. And out of those 123 players, 97 of them will be either their first or their second year at the University of Oklahoma. So tremendous turnover, but I couldn't be more excited about the group of guys. It goes without saying, we went 6-7 last year and fell well below our expectations and our standards at Oklahoma. But man, we learned and grew a lot as a football program. And in 5 of the 7 losses, it goes down to the last, minute, 2 minutes of the game in the fourth quarter with a chance to win. And so we've looked long and hard in the offseason since January of what we need to do to become a more efficient football team. And we've looked at every single part of our program, how we can improve and get better. Nothing ever stays the same. And so we spent a lot of the offseason practicing, film review, programmatically, coaching, all the things that you go into a season at where we can get better. And really excited about the improvements that we've made a year into where we're at right now. And, a year into our systems, a year into our strength and conditioning, the PRs, the improvements that we've made in the weight room. Just had our best academic semester in the history of Oklahoma football. Everything matters in what we do and how we do it. How we can become a more efficient football team, and 3rd and 4th down on both sides of the ball. Certainly our red zone defense, handling the fourth quarter of games. Really love the competitive depth that we've both developed with our current players, our returning players, and what we've recruited in both out of high school with 40 new scholarship players and 17 transfers. So really believe that because of the competitive depth, we'll have, a little bit stronger fourth quarter output on both sides of the ball, a quarter of football where we performed very poorly last year. and which lended to, again, 5 of one-score losses for us. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
We'll go to center right, fourth row. If you'll stand and please say your name and affiliation.
Hey, Coach, this is Jason Watkins, Hall of Fame Media. You alluded to the difficulty on defense last season, 123rd out of 131. How much is the transfer class going to really be the key to this season, turning that around for you?
Well, again, everything matters, and I try to look at everything, evaluate everything. Obviously, playing good defense is keeping people out of the end zone, and so improving in the areas where we can improve. And you do that lots of different ways, whether it's scheme, it's players, it's development, it's teaching, it's practicing. Again, it can't ever happen fast enough. We haven't been good on defense for a long time, and but everywhere I've been, it's been a rebuilding process to some degree. And we got a lot of work to do, but I got a lot of faith in both our players, our staff, and certainly how we do what we do, our developmental processes. But there's no area on defense. We led the Big 12 in interceptions. We led the Big 12 in tackles for loss. So what's that do for you? Those are building blocks, things that you can build from. Scoring defense, I think we're in the 90s. That's where it starts, keeping people out of the end zone, becoming a better red zone defense, stopping people. We were really poor, stopping people in the run game. I think leading the country last year, you got to be around 2.4 yards a carry, and we were at 4.4 yards a carry. So how do we shave off, a couple of yards? A couple of yards is a lot. I get it. I know what that looks like. But you do it in everything that you're doing from a defensive standpoint. From again how you practice to how you teach, all of those things. But I believe we'll be better because of the returning experience. We'll be better fundamentally. We'll be better aggressiveness. We'll be better with our timing and our precision and our physicality as a result of some returning experience. Guys like Danny Stutzman or Billy Bowman, Key Lawrence, Woody Washington, Jonah, Ethan Downs, and then the addition. And again, we've got 6 guys up front, 2 All-American linebackers, a hard-hitting safety in Reggie Pearson. I believe we'll be better up the middle of our defense. And, I look at where we were at, really at every single position. And we didn't have the competitive depth a year ago. And we started the year pretty strong, and then we didn't finish the year very well. And particularly in those fourth quarters of a bunch of games, we just didn't have any juice left. About the middle of the year on. So the competitive depth will lead to better competitive stamina.
All right, we'll go to center right, middle.
Jake Hatch, Locked On Sports Network over here, Coach, to your right. I just wanted to ask you, you talked about coaching in the first Big 12 game. Your final road trip with Oklahoma before going to the SEC will be at BYU. Just going to get your thoughts on the Cougars.
Yeah, the Cougars had a little bit of experience. Both at Kansas State and at Oklahoma. That'll be, it's going to be a wonderful atmosphere. Late November, it'll probably be about 80 degrees in Provo. And, it's going to be a wonderful atmosphere. Again, incredible fan base. There's not going to be an empty seat in the house. It'll be a mature football team like many of the BYU teams are. Coach and his staff have done an amazing job. It's an established program of culture and toughness, and you're going to have to go earn victory. They're not going to give you anything. So hopefully we're playing our best football. The teams that I've taken the most pride in, the teams that have been most successful that I've been around are ones that improve as the season goes along. So I'm hopeful and have an expectation we'll be playing our best football at that time of the year.
We'll go to center, middle right.
Hey, Coach. Barry Lewis, Killer Frogs, TCU Fan Nation. Follow up on that question. Your last home game, your last regular season Big 12 home game, Black Friday, 11 a.m. against TCU. What do you anticipate that atmosphere, what TCU should expect, especially after what happened last year in Fort Worth?
Yeah, again, last year doesn't mean anything to what happens this year. That's literally how you coach, how you prepare. Coach and his staff did an amazing job. What a incredible season that they had a year ago. What I expect out of Oklahoma is what I've seen this will be my 15th year, and you're going to see an incredible, very passionate fan base. They're going to show up deep. They're going to show up early. That's been the best winning percentage in college football the last 22 years, and I don't expect anything different, than that. This will be an incredible opportunity. Hopefully, we're playing. Hopefully, something's on the line, in that game, and expectations are something will be. But I know what Sonny and his group are going to bring. Great. A program that is going to come in with, a championship mindset, but for us, man, hopefully we're playing our best football, at that time of the year.
We'll go to center right, fourth row.
Coach, Nick Coppola, I'm right here. Nick Coppola, OU Daily. I wanted to ask about Danny Stutzman, the guy you brought along here. Just what have you seen from him, just in terms of just his growth and maturation over the offseason, and just what kind of role do you see him just playing on the team this season, both on and off the field?
Well, it's like anything. What can you expect from, again, where we are 17 months ago to where we're at going into year 2 now? I think the greatest calling of coaching is the development of people, developing leaders. Danny, he'd be the first one to admit that 17 months ago he wasn't capable of leading, and he's in a much different place now. The whole team follows Danny. His emotion, his work, his action. He's a doer and a giver, and I love the maturation that's taken place with him off the field as much as on the field. His seriousness, his commitment to excellence every day. He's put the team and the expectations on his back, and I love that. A year ago at this time, he couldn't run a player run practice. He couldn't run a player run walkthrough. He wasn't equipped to do that, and I think that's a reflection of a lot of guys on our team. And so we're in a different place. He certainly is, at this point in time to where he was a year ago. He's his own worst critic. He's hard on himself. That's what the best of the best are. They're never satisfied. I expect great things from Danny. He's long, he's athletic, he plays fast, he closes to the ball, he's got tremendous contact speed, he's got tremendous instincts, got great toughness, and he's worked incredibly hard, for the 23 season. So really excited to see Danny and where he's at, this year.
We'll go to center left, midway. If you'll please stand and state your name and affiliation.
Coach Venables, Philip Roybal, Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. I did want to allude to the fact of the statement you've already made is developing your players, and you mentioned academics. I've thought y'all have always done a tremendous job of that. By the way, I had dinner last night with one of your ex-players, Stephen Coleman, that played at Dallas Skyline, and then again at OU, which I had the great opportunity to coach Stephen at Skyline. But I thank you for that and your staff.
You bet.
I do want to ask, yesterday I know Coach Gundy kind of blames OU football for not having the Bedlam game anymore. My question to you is, would Oklahoma consider playing that in a non-conference game, which I think as media and fans, we would love to see that rivalry continued, because rivalries are so big in college football.
I appreciate the question, and say hey to Steve for me. Look, I'm not in control of whether or not we play Oklahoma State. I love college football. I love the traditions of the game. I love rivalry games. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State have played for over 100 years, and Oklahoma has been dang good in those games and for a long time. And but whether or not we play them in the future, nobody's asking me what I think. If they do ask me, I'll tell them what I think. I'd love to play the game, but we're going to play the schedule that they put in front of us.
Time for one final question. We'll go to the far left.
Kurt Bowles from the Austin American Statesman.
Hey, Kurt.
Hey, Brent. What is the steepest part of the learning curve in becoming a head coach? And has Bob Stoops reminded you of how he did in his second year at OU?
I've got good revisionist memory. I remember what that year was what it was like. But it's everything, Kurt. It really is. Looking at overall efficiency, I think is probably the biggest thing for me. Willing to listen, Sometimes, again, willing to listen to your players, certainly listen to your staff, take it all in. Ultimately, you have to make decisions on all of it. But, being a better listener, looking at the efficiency, how you do what you do, and then what you do. And then those critical situations, how you can improve, schemes, coaching, all of that. But managing it all, I've got a wonderful staff. I've put your heart into all of it. And if we're successful, it's because of all of us, as a staff and certainly as a program, our players. When you're not successful, it all the rests right at your seat. So heavy is the crown, but I embrace that. I've always put a lot on myself. So a lot of learning and growing and reflecting and again. Really expect, come back this year and learn from those mistakes. You learn a lot through failure, as we all talk about a lot in dealing with sports, and it teaches you a lot. But if you're made of the right stuff, winners respond. Winners come back a better version of themselves. Winners go right back at it, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Expect even a better version. They were pretty good when we played there in the past. Coach Fickle did a great job of developing, a program, taking it to new levels. Obviously, it was 2 years ago, they're in the playoffs. Really, they've done a good job of building a talented roster. Coach Satterfield is a tremendous football coach. He'll have those guys ready. Expect, again, when Oklahoma shows up, it's a Game 7 mentality from everybody we play. We're not sneaking up on anybody. So, but at the end of the day, that'll be a great test for us. And if we're the team that I believe, that we have the capability of becoming, you got to go to Cincinnati and you got to perform well. So looking forward to that. That'll be a lot of fun, for our guys, and it'll be a great challenge.
Brent, you're notorious almost for being a guy that never changes. I'm the same guy I was, and players tell us he's the same guy he was. How did 6 and 7 change you as a coach? How did 6 and 7 make you evolve as a coach, as a thinker or preparer or whatever it is?
Yeah, I still don't think it changes. Again, change is, and you use the words evolve, and that's what you always do. Even when you go 14-1 or 15-0 or 13-0, it's like, okay, how can we be better? I've spent my whole life as a football coach, coaching linebackers, coaching defense, coaching the game, and even through success, you're always looking at ways to improve and get better. So, having a never satisfied attitude is never going to change for me. But again, whether it's patience or it's efficiency, decision making from a situational football, you're always learning and improving and getting better.
Because of your history as defensive coordinator, how hard was it for you last year to see y'all play defensively like that?
It's always hard. Even when you're really good, it's always hard. It's you live and die every single play. And like I said, I've always been the one that I see the bad even when it's good. And so when I say it's hard, that's what I'm talking about. There's nothing easy about coaching. There's nothing easy about chasing excellence. And so it wasn't any more hard, any more difficult. That's what coaching is all about. And you got to take the bad with the good. And it's really sour right now. It ain't a lot of fun. And but you continue to do the right things consistently, stay faithful to what it takes to be successful, you'll have success. And a lot of people can't see it. I get that, but a lot of people aren't really successful in this business. And but we got a blueprint, we got clear vision on what it's going to take, and it's going to take a lot. And but we're ready for that challenge.
Coach, what did you tell the players this year about the Texas game after last year's results?
I don't tell them anything. Again, you learn and grow from the good and the bad. So that game, it has no more additional significance than any other game. It's an important game. They're all important. And you go 6 and 7, you realize that. But for me, I've always had tremendous respect for what it takes to be successful. So to me, you play, compete, coach, respond, correct to a standard, not to an opponent.
Brent, you talked a lot about efficiency up there. Last year, I think the defense played some of the most snaps in all of college football. Some of that's not getting off the field. Some of that, you guys have one of the faster paced offenses. Do you look at both sides of the ball when you talk about efficiency in that regard?
100%. And that's complementing each other, playing to each other's strengths, and
You got to protect your weaknesses and enhance your strengths, and so that's part of it, no question about it. But efficiency in every part of the game, and fundamentals, technique, scheme, situational football, 3rd down, 4th down, red zone, 2-minute, run defense. It is all important, and we got to improve in every phase of the game. And the efficiency is, again, the margin for error between winning and losing. And it ain't much, as we experienced 5 of the 7 losses coming over the last 2 minutes of those games. So where can we be better? We need to be better on both sides of the ball on 3rd and 4th down. We fell below the expectations there in the red zone, and again, in 3 of the 4 losses, we get penalties where we take touchdowns off the board. You can't lose to Oklahoma. That's part of being efficient. And in 3 of the 4 losses, we have a turnover on downs in scoring position. And so the timeliness is the real thing. And so where can we find, ways that we can improve and get better, become more efficient? And you do that lots of ways. And you do that through development, you do that teaching, you do that through strain and your strength and conditioning programs. You certainly do it through recruiting and the transfer portal, all of those things.
That was a big part of this thing when you arrived in 2021. What were some of the elements that led to that change, and what kind of voice?
Yeah, it's bittersweet. Incredibly excited for Thad. This is something that was just on his spirit to, be a part of it. His son-in-law got hired as the head strength coach at Anderson University right there outside of Clemson. And he got his first grandbaby on the way. And this is a great situation for he and his family to be able to be a part of that. And Thad's he's a different bird. People say, how did he come to Oklahoma? I don't know how it happened. He was just bored at Clemson. He wanted a new challenge, but man, he made us better in every part of our program. He's always a thinker. His focus is always about being the best in everything. So, he made our facility better, the one that we're in currently. We doubled our size of staff. We had to have somewhere to put them. So he kicked out walls, helped us create a war room, and enhanced our recruiting operations, our dining facility. We have an in-house dining facility now. Created Soul Mission and Elite Recovery, 2 areas we didn't have anything. So he created the space, for those things and oversaw those projects. But man, really, really excited, for him and his family, his son Lee, a chance to go with his buddies and finish up his high school career. So he'll always be a great friend, and again, he made us better. So thankful for the time that he was
overall
here.
How do you think the last year of the Big 12 is how it's going to be for Oklahoma?
So you asking me like predict it?
No, I'm just saying leaving the
the last year hadn't happened yet, but I don't know. I'll look back at that after it happens. I'll tell you, my feelings then. It hasn't happened yet, and I'm a be here now kind of guy. Bill Schneider said, "Be here now." A lot of people, bloom where you're playing, to be where your feet are. And we got a lot of improvement to do. I don't have time to be, nostalgia of being in the conference for the last time. The most important things are, improving our football team. Becoming, a team that can compete for championships, and the development process, what it's going to take to do that, and the expectations of it, we should be able to do that this year, compete for a championship, and that's our expectations. And it may not be everybody else's, but that's ours, and there's a lot of work and a lot of improvement has to take place before that can happen.
Okay, last question. Brent, you've got another group of transfers coming in this year. Maybe what did you learn as a first-year head coach last year about assimilating, transfers into the program that can be helpful going into this year?
Yeah, I don't think I learned anything more than what, having been at Oklahoma and at Kansas State, we recruited junior colleges, significantly as part of our recruiting philosophy. So recognize, the challenges that bringing in, guys that are only going to be there for a year or 2 years, getting them to buy in. So, for us, it's being careful about the ones that we bring in, finding guys that are that value blue collar mindset, that value what it means to be a great teammate, that value the culture, the environment that they're going to come in. I've always filters. Are they going to bring value to our locker room? That's what my players deserve. I'm going to bring in people that are going to bring value into that locker room, and guys that deeply understand that you're going to get what you earn. you know. So I don't want to make any promises in the recruiting process, you know, that don't align with our values. So, you know, the real trick, you know, having 63 newcomers, guys that are showing up for the first time, is how quickly can we get those 63 newcomers to blend in, you know, with the returning players and buy into all the things that we're talking about. And I don't take that for granted. The chemistry, the cohesion that's critical, that's a big part of developing, you know, a winning environment, you know, a team that is capable of winning each and every week. It takes that before you're going to actually win, you know. And so better teams do it together. So but it's a lot of fun. You know, I love that challenge. But I look for people, you know. You got to be good enough, but I look for the right kind of people that got the right kind of stuff. And our players, our current players, they've been amazing, you know, at welcoming these guys and helping them along the way, and teaching them. I can't do it alone. I'm one person, you know, installing and holding guys accountable to the culture and the values and the expectations in our program. It's everybody doing exactly that. So that's been a lot of fun. It is a great challenge. You know, we gotta have a great fall camp, you know, before we can expect a strong September. And but what I've seen up to this point in time, man, couldn't be more excited about this group of guys, the kind of people they are, leaders, competitors, players, a lot to be excited about.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Good to see everyone.